I'd like to ask you, what do these three people have in common? Well, you probably recognize the first person. I'm sure you're all avid American Idol watchers. But you might not recognize Ida Al-Jahani, who is a contestant, indeed a finalist, in the Poet of the Millions competition, which is broadcast out of Abu Dhabi and seen throughout the Arab world. In this contest, people have to write and recite original poetry in the Nabati form of poetry, which is a traditional Bedouin form. And Lima Sahar was a finalist in the Afghan Star singing competition. Now, before I go any further, yes, I know it all began with Britain's Got Talent. But my point in discussing this is to show you, I hope I'll be able to show you how these merit-based competitions with equal access to everyone, with the winner selected by voting via SMS, are changing tribal societies. And I'm going to focus on Afghanistan and the Arab world with the UAE, how they're changing tribal societies, not by introducing Western ideas, but by being integrated into the language in those places. It all begins with enjoyment. These programs are reaching incredibly deeply into society. In Afghanistan, people go to extraordinary lengths to be able to watch this program. And you don't necessarily have to have your own TV set. People watch it all over the country, also in public places. But it goes beyond watching, because also part of this is campaigning. People become so engaged that they have volunteers, just like political volunteers anyway, who fan out over the countryside campaigning for their candidate. The contestants also put themselves forward. Now, and of course, there's a certain degree of ethnic allegiance, but not entirely, because each year the winner has come from a different tribal group. This has opened up the door particularly for women. And in the last season, there were two women in the finalists. One of them, Lima Sahar, is a Pashtun from Kandahar, a very conservative part of the country. And here she relates in the documentary film Afghan Star how her friends urged her not to do this and told her that she was leaving them for democracy. But she also confides that she knows that members of the Taliban are actually SMSing votes in for her. Ida Al-Jahani also took risks and put herself out to compete in the Poet of the Millions competition. I have to say her husband backed her from the start, but her tribe and family urged her not to compete and were very much against it. But once she started to win, then they got behind her again. It turns out that, competition and winning is a universal human value. And she's out there, her poetry is about women and the life of women in society. So just by presenting herself and being in competition with men, this shows the voting on the program, it sets a very important example for young women. These are young women in the audience of the program in Abu Dhabi, but also people in the viewing audience. Now, you'd think that American Idol would introduce a measure of Americanization, but actually just the opposite is happening. By using this engaging popular format for traditional local culture, it actually, in the Gulf, is precipitating a revival of interest in Nabati poetry, also in traditional dress and dance and music. And for Afghanistan, where the Taliban banned music for many years, it is reintroducing their traditional music. They don't sing pop songs, they sing Afghan music. And they also have learned how to lose gracefully without avenging the winner. And no small thing. And The final sort of formulation of this American Idol format, which has just appeared in Afghanistan, is a new program called The Candidate. And in this program, people present policy platforms that are then voted on. Many of them are too young to run for president, but by putting the issues out there, they are influencing the presidential race. So for me, the substance of Things Unseen is how reality TV is driving reality. Thank you.
Traffic is a global epidemic. US traffic is creating 45% of the world's air pollution. In the UK, time wasted in traffic costs $20 billion a year. Would you pay for cleaner air and a faster commute? Stockholm put it to a vote.
I voted for it, yes.
I voted for it.
I vote for it.
We're not old enough to vote.
We had to do something in Stockholm to improve the environment and to get a better flow in the traffic. We put a price on taking your car into the central parts of Stockholm, and we call that congestion charges.
If you start a system like this and it doesn't work on the first day, then you will be in big trouble. It must be perfect from day one.
There are 18 entry gates to the city. Each is equipped with cameras. Pictures are taken of the rear and front license plates. These pictures are sent to a central system that identifies the license plates and makes sure that the right person pays for the right passages.
One of the obstacles we overcame was the OCR, the optical character reading of the license plate. We went out to IBM's global organization and the R&D centers and find a very good software we could use. And we managed to implement it in 2 months' time.
This is the heart of the system where all images and passages are being processed. Over 99% of all pictures are correctly identified.
No, it's nice. This is how it should be all the time.
Behind me you can see the traffic, and the clock is 6 p.m. Before we had the congestion charging, the traffic was queuing up at this time of the day.
Jag tycker det är en bra idé.
I think it's a good idea because I think that we should take care of the environment in the city.
The traffic went down with about 22% and the air pollution was about 14% better.
It's a huge international interest from different parts of the world, from the United States, from Latin America, from China, and it's really a pleasure to tell people not what we are planning to do, but what we actually have done in Stockholm.
I voted for it, yes I did. Not my husband, so but I did. I think he is not thinking like me for the future. I'm thinking for the children and the grandchildren.